Welcome to the Whitetail Advantage Podcast with your host, Brett Bovin. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
What is up, guys? This is Brett Bovin, and welcome to the motherfucking electronic campfire. Now, before we officially kick things off, we have a couple things we want to say. First, we are not politically correct on this show. We speak our minds, we're unafraid, and we're unapologetic. We cover topics not just in hunting and the outdoors, but topics in society, and we speculate what's true and what's not true, and we discuss how we, the people, need to fix these problems. Now, we conduct a live show every Sunday and Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube channel. Our Sunday show, you're going to get more of our round table segment where we bring a guest or sometimes just the team, and we cover a variety of different topics, kind of our more laid back, have fun with it type show. Tuesday show is our more serious type show where we cover state specific, bring a guest that lives and hunts in that state, and we ask them a variety of different questions, basically trying to get a good grasp what's it like to hunt in that state. We love to conduct these live shows because it gives everyone out there a chance to interact with us here on the show. And we always encourage everybody to comment questions or whatever you want to comment. We just encourage everybody to comment here during the show. We have a blast when everyone's interacting here with us as well. During the show, we also have a couple of segments. Johnny's segment, Hunt, Befriend, Kill, or you're going to have Squatch's segment, What are things not to say to a game warden? Like I said earlier, we are not politically correct. We speak our minds. We're unafraid and unapologetic about it. Now, we don't run ads during the show. However, we did create our own little 2-minute little commercial break. It's our chance to kind of kick back, get a good drink of water, good drink of beer, whatever, put a dip in at that point. But basically that commercial it's 2 minutes. Giving the promo codes for discount codes off the people that we work with, the companies that we work with. So make sure to stay tuned in for that. As always, we want to take a second to say thank you to all of our men and women in the military. Thank you for your service and thank you for your sacrifice. We also want to say thank you to all the police officers, the firefighters, the nurses, the doctors, the corrections officers, everyone in public service, construction workers. We want to say thank you so much for your service. We are greatly appreciative of that. We also have a saying on the show, put your quarter in the slot machine. What I mean by that is to help share show. I strongly believe hunting's a dying sport. It's a dying lifestyle. And no matter what we do, it's just going to be phasing away. So we need everyone out there to help grow the show, help spread the word. We've been having a lot of people reach out to us saying that they've been putting their quarter in the slot machine, helping grow the show, and we are greatly appreciative of that. We can't say thank you enough to everyone out there. We're not just building a team here. We're building a family here at Whitetail Advantage, and everyone that's been a part of this family from the start up till now, it's been an amazing ride, and we want to continue this. So make sure to put that quarter in the slot machine. Last but not least, no excuses, just hunt. Now let's kick things over to the guys and let's really kick this live show off. How's it going, everyone? It's Sunday, February 23rd, 2025. And honestly, I really got nothing. I'm just excited for tonight. We had Brian on for covering Virginia. However, due to personal scheduling conflicts, we booked him for an actual show. So we kind of laid things a little bit back for that. So, like I said, I got nothing. I'm just going to shut up. We're going to bring everybody in here and we're going to have a fun, awesome show tonight. How's it going, Squatch? Dave,
yo,
thank you for coming on.
What's up, fellas?
As people can see, Johnny's not here, so it's an even better night. So we're excited about that.
Woohoo! Little brother's gone.
Exactly. And we're not sad one bit. We're kind of happy. We get a break. Brian, thank you for coming on the show, brother.
Hey, buddy. Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm glad we could work it out.
Oh, yeah. Of course, man. After we talked and then we found out that you weren't going to be able to come on the state when we covered Virginia, I was like, yeah, I don't care. We're going to find a way to get you to stay on the show. So for anyone that
Very
doesn't know you, can you give a little background about yourself, brother?
No, absolutely. First of all, I'm just getting over the flu, so I had another close encounter, and I don't wish that on anybody right now. It was about 3 days of in the bed, and then took me 9 days. I just got over it about 4 or 5 days ago. So, man, just try to stay healthy out there. But yeah, background on myself, pretty much was from a broken family, and my granddad and uncle, took me under their wings as a little child, and I would always come home from school, and there would be a deer hanging in the maple tree, and my uncle, and he was a finger shooter, shot tournaments and stuff back in the day, and I always gravitated toward bow hunting, and they would tag me along, and those days, as we all know, there was no inches, there was no, there was nothing about what we see today, and we can talk about that later. But it was just whenever there was a deer in a tree, it was good times at our house, and I always remembered as a youth, that's what drove me. I wanted to make my uncle proud and my granddad proud, and they'd always say, any crown buck that they had was a dandy. And I was, man, I just one day want to get a dandy. It wasn't an inch. It wasn't 130, 140. It was just a buck. And I finally did at 15 years old. And then the obsession hit me. And I mean, it as we all know, the crazy stuff. But if it was high school football, and I met a really good girl at a young age that really kept me straight, kept me going into the right direction of life instead of going off derailing. And I just always, every time, a blue collar guy, had to work for everything in my life, but I always would, make those close calls hunting through our relationships. I missed a wedding one time because, and we've all missed stuff. And just over the years, the passion and, I've been fortunate enough I've been doing it 42 years now, bow hunting, and have my 12th one I got on the wall this year, but I mean, there's a lot of them I have. I'm not worried. I actually have never officially had any of my bucks scored until this year. I just went to the show with Lone Wolf at the outdoor sportsman event, and was asked if, I brought a couple deer up for the booth, and the conservation officer asked me if I would like to have them. I said, yeah, that's great. It was really cool to have your deer recognized. And it's also very humbling from when you score it and they score it.
There seems to be a difference in numbers.
I'm here to tell you. Now, one of them I was right on. Now, the other one I was about 4 inches off. But I didn't realize how much it takes to a deer to officially make Pope and Young to net it, for it to net.
Yes.
So that was really eye-opening. But just to backstep again, so I a couple years ago got an instant. I got a message on Facebook from Lone Wolf, and Zach Robb. Just I didn't know him for anything, but he just hit me up on Facebook, and he said, "Hey man, what kind of tree stand do you like to use?" And I said, "Man, I've been doing this for a long time. I started off with a big wooden Baker tree stand over the years, went through all this, but I said I found a Lone Wolf back in the 90s, man." And I said, "That's kind of what I use." He said, "Well, that's a good answer because that's who I work for." They talking about something meant to be. So we really had a great conversation, and it kind of led off into me actually getting the gig for one of the reps for them. So there's 3 of us in Virginia, and it's actually got me in my foot in the industry with an amazing company and people that I've surrounded with, and I'm part of the Whitetail Addictions team. So I'm trying to learn self-filming, and we can talk about that because I did about everything wrong this year, first time ever trying to self-film, because I'm very, very, and as we all know, I don't move. And it's just like, you got to be prepared with filming, and it's a whole different kind of thing. But so I'm kind of doing that now. And, I'm just country boy, been with the same, very simple guy, man. I mean, I've been with the same lady since I was 15 years old. We have 2 boys, passionate about deer hunting, and never had property I've owned. I've always had to knock on doors. I've always had to hunt public. But I think it's the heart that makes it great, and enjoy, just enjoy your slice in life, man. Like if this is, I tell people this, I said, if your pond you fishing doesn't have a 10-pound bass, then enjoy that 5-pound bass. Like my deer where I hunt, I don't have 170s running. I've never killed a one, but right around me, it's not Iowa where I'm at. I'm in Virginia. It's a little different kind of makeup, but a 130 is a hell of a deer, man, and enjoy it. I mean, if you, and I always stay positive with that, but that's a little bit about myself. And, I'm had a really good year this year, killed 5 deer, 3 bucks, got one. It's about 2 weeks from being done, being mounted, which I always say it's a new addition to my household. When I bring a deer home, I'm kind of a goober. I am a goober because I'll spend the whole evening with that deer. And my wife looks at me and she's like, "Are you serious?" So I'll just probably sleep on the couch with it, and just remember everything about that, how blessed that whole moment was. But it's a new addition with my, my some of them behind me. But it's our passion, man. It's what we do, and it's and I hope we can still keep educating the young, like you're talking about, of what it's really about. What everything, if it's legal, enjoy it. Just because you're away, if you go to public and you and do all this, it's no different. It doesn't. A guy's in a redneck blind over a corn pile, but he's in Kentucky, and it's still the same. You know what I mean? And that's where we see. I tease my buddies about a crossbow, but that's all in good fun. But if it's, if you shoot a crossbow, whatever you want, you can shoot a spear. I don't, but just. That's where we just got to get better with. I see so much of that on social, and we'll talk about that, deep dive that later. But anyway, back to for myself. I know I get long winded, but that's pretty much me in a nutshell, man. I'm 56 years old. I'll be 57 years old this year, and I still get shook up over a 6-pointer on a cold November morning. So it's like. And I say, if I ever lose that, then that would be time for me, Brett, and guys, for me, just to say, hey, I'm done. But I don't see it happening.
I swear, I don't.
I agree.
At the day that my heart doesn't beat when I just see a doe coming out of the woods, I don't know, man.
Right?
That's just gonna be the saddest day of my life. Where it's just like, I don't want to.
No, I hear you. Yeah. I mean, shit, I was hyperventilating on both does I killed this year,
I was hyperventilating just from climbing up in the tree.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah, because you're a fat fuck.
240 pounds of me going up that tree, man. By the time I get to the top, I'm like, wow, man. Whew.
That's right. I'll tell you what, too. Which in shape's about when you have to drag a deer.
I never said I was in shape. I'm just A shape.
Oh.
Yeah, I got lucky. Both of mine were probably, at my buddy's property, we basically drove 30 yards up to it and just drug it out of the swamp. So the other one died 15 yards from the road. So I didn't have to do any real dragging, thank God, because it'd probably still be there.
I'm actually now, I will admit it, but I will look at a doe, like when I'm getting ready to, shoot a doe, at the way she's facing is if she's going to be lucky.
Yeah. Towards the hills, the road. Okay. Yep. I'll take that one.
If she's facing down towards that creek, I'm like, today's your lucky day.
Yeah.
Brian is my man in the mid 50 club in solid shape.
56 in June.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yep.
Actually, let me ask you a question here, since it looks like we also have another person in the dinosaur realm of time, and you 3 as well. So if you've seen hunting back when you first started back then, there was no social media. It wasn't like it is today, obviously.
No.
Brian, let's start off with you. What is your opinion? What is your opinion of how you think it's changed from when you first started at a young age, like let's just say 10, to now? Like, what's like been your biggest achievement? I guess, like, you think biggest thing you think that was a big reward and a big downfall. It's a new age from when you started to now.
That's a great question, because I lived it, and I don't look at it as sad that it's not those days anymore, because they'll never be. But I am so blessed I got to enjoy it. And what I'm saying is that there was a time, and you guys know that when you harvested a deer, or you would hang it out your truck, it didn't matter what it was, or, I had a Mustang at the time, and it was hanging out the trunk. But I would go to every country store that had a big buck contest or whatever, and they would take a Polaroid picture of my deer. And I would be and I'd pay that extra $1 to get my picture, because they would charge you $1. That's what they did to get your Polaroid. And that was, the fun of it all. And you would go around and just be so happy with a 6-point buck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's sad today is that 6-point buck now, it depends. Like, if you show that picture, people will, out of nowhere, if they're keyboard warriors or however, but they'll actually have an opinion on that, whatever they're let it grow, shame on, I don't know what it could be. And everybody wants to be liked, even if you say you don't. Everybody does, man. We're humans. But when you see that, like, the first time I saw that, I've been a positive person my whole life, but I was like, what is this guy's problem? Like, and then I just said, you know what? I'll never see you, so I'm not going to let your comment bother me. But if that 6-pointer, you don't know everybody's story, because that 6-pointer could be feeding my family. That 6-pointer is my and then you're making a comment, and that, what I see, Brett, today is that social media is it gets to all of us, because there's a lot of guys out there that have the means to manage their own deer herds, right? And some people use smoke and mirrors to make, whatever, but there's all these big bucks now that are just showing up on people's, and then you start to, you didn't see that back in the day. Deer weren't that size as much in the day. Predominantly it's in your face more. And it can be, as a hunter, very discouraging when you're, into late October and you've seen like 800 deer killed, and it's just like, you start mentally like getting, maybe I should go here. And then you start getting out of your hunt, and then you start not enjoying things as much. And you have to step back, you have to step back. So I think back in the days, we didn't have that, where we could see that, right up, on us, and we would just go out, and society was a little bit different, and hunting was more, family than you see more today. There's still really good sites and things like that, but it can get vicious, man. It can get vicious.
Yeah. I remember posting a photo that my buddy, this was a couple years ago, he harvested a bear from Canada. We were gonna go, but then COVID hit. So yay, fucking COVID. And I posted it, so I'm like, congratulations to him. Next thing you know, people out of the woodwork just coming and bashing. Why the F you gonna shoot a bear? Why? And it was just like mean. And I was like, and I'm the first person to say, you want to start going that way? I'm all about taking the higher road and being the bigger person, obviously, with my past. But at the same time, I also take the clientele that I had to deal with back then. You can only talk to them a certain way. There was no rationale speaking to them, because it wasn't their style. So I basically went their route and said, F you can shut the fuck up. And they don't know what they were talking about. So I left it at that. It's just the way social media has become. It's been positive, but also its downfall on the same spotlight, because we get to meet these people from in all phases of America, basically, and all over the country. I mean, look at this. I brought Johnny, Dave, and Squatch on a team. Do I regret it? Yes, but they're awesome.
I told you that when you brought us on, you screwed up.
But meeting these guys through this has been amazing, and it's been awesome talking to them. It's been awesome talking to you, Brian. Obviously off air and stuff. The people that we meet here in the family of Whitetail Advantage, everyone that's here in the comment world, it's been
awesome.
Amazing.
They're awesome,
it's just
dudes.
I can't. Amazing is an understatement, basically.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, you get people outside of the hunting world where they just want to bash you because they think that you can't have a good conversation with them.
Mm-mm. You can't change their mind.
Part that sucks. And
yeah, I
always say, if people are afraid of posting the photo, or they're scared of what quote unquote consequences might come from posting it, I say send it to me. I'll send it, and then they'll have to go through fucking me before they have to get to you.
But I think commercialization of the sport has killed it a lot.
Yeah.
If you see the way it's turned from back in the 70s and 80s when I grew up, when Brian, Squatch, like we've talked about this a lot, it was just, it was like Christmas going over to my uncle's for deer camp. I mean, you were there for the weekend and told stories and lies, you're just kids, but you're just going out there to hunt. And we didn't have any, when you go out, who shoots the biggest buck or even shoot a buck, it was just, go out and get a deer, we're going to have venison tonight or this or that. And there was no, if you own this bow or you own that crossbow or this gun or that gun, you suck. Or if you shot this little buck, you suck. And now that if you don't spend $2,000 on a bow and $2,000 on a saddle setup, and if you're not shooting 150-inch to 180-inch deer, and then you see little kids, first timers, shooting 170, 180s, and then you got the new up and coming kids that are wanting to hunt, or even the adults that want to hunt, and I see they're passing like 120s,
mm-hmm.
And it's like, you got to shoot them. Especially if you're hunting public, because you'll probably never see another one. It's
just to jump in, I went a whole season. I got caught up in it in 2019, 2020. We're good. 2021, I got caught up into that, and I let so many decent bucks go. Now I can't manage any deer where I'm at. If I don't shoot them, the neighbor will, or, they're not.
Oh yeah.
I'm hunting like 10 acres, 15 acre stuff. And at the end of the year, my wife came up to me and she's like, do you realize you didn't shoot a deer this year? And I went, what? She goes, I've known you since you're 15. This is the first time you've never shot a deer. And I was like blown away, because I was grinding to get a one on, you know what I mean? And I lost myself. And once you lose yourself, that's where it's just not right. You have to go back to your roots and your passion of what this is. It's the chase. It's the memories, like you're saying. And I did the following year, I was slaying everything, and I had a blast.
Yeah. And I screwed up this year because I had some big boys. I was hunting, and I just let like a shit ton of deer pass, and I didn't actually kill a doe until, God, it was almost opening a rifle, and then shot another one during rifle. But I almost let the whole season slip by just because I was hunting these big bucks and just letting everything pass. The small bucks, fine. In my area, I let them pass because there's the state land, the public land I hunt. There's not a lot of big bucks there. The buck population's really low. And they were only year and a half olds, but I was seeing a lot of does. I could have killed a doe a day almost. And then my kid was like, why you keep passing all these deer? Deer season's getting close to the end. And I was like, holy shit, you're right. I got to go kill a deer. It's almost over.
Been grinding.
Yeah.
And don't, I mean, every one of us here on the show and listeners, we all want to, everybody wants to kill a big buck.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have our properties we're going to leave everything alone in that property if there's big bucks there. Don't get me wrong. But the majority of places I hunt, it's just like I use my gut instinct. I knock on doors, I find, and then it's just like, if you see a tree size rub, or
yeah,
if you saw a flash of a picket fence buck going by, you're like, whoa, okay. But majority, it's just like being there at the right time, man. It's luck. It's all luck, and it's just like, I know we're going to deep dive into preparation, but the more you prepare, the more you go, it's going to increase your luck, and that's just the name of the game.
Yeah,
I have so Michael was sad we didn't do Johnny's segment, which I feel wrong for doing it. However, he did want it for Michael. He said, Michael, hunt, fight, befriend, warthog, baboon, and a coyote. So we need your answer there, Michael. And hopefully Johnny sends one in there for Brian as well. Otherwise, Johnny's a dickhead.
Well, he is anyway, so.
That is true. He's automatically one no matter what. Brian, we
Michael's a young kid. If you want to explain Michael to him so he understands about Michael being a young kid.
Yeah, Michael's 14, 15 years old. He's a solid kid.
He's a good kid, man.
Yeah, real good kid.
Yeah, he's over by Squatch.
Well, he's about 85 miles below me, but he's out in the island.
He's a lot closer to you than we are.
Hell yeah. Yeah, he is.
Brian, we have a question also from Michael. Brian, what else do you hunt besides whitetail?
Great question. Really, just turkey.
Cool.
I'm kind of got into turkey hunting about, 10, 15 years ago. And I never thought that would I was blown away, man, when I had a gobbler gobbling and I called it. And it was, and I couldn't see it. And then and nobody ever told me this was, their heads are white, right? It looked like a softball coming through the woods. And I was like, what in the hell is that? I'll never forget that, but it was a blast. But yeah, so I would love, going back to that question, I would love to actually probably do some elk hunting. I've had a couple buddies on the Lone Wolf team told me that it's nothing like it, man. With having, an elk call at you back and you're on the ground with it, it's like, So I've been told they're like a deer turkey or a animal like a turkey, the way they call back, elk do. So
yeah.
Okay, Johnny did send in for Brian. You have caribou, a panda, or an aurochs. With the hunt, fight, or befriend one.
Oh my!
And you get a caribou, a panda, and an aurochs.
Hunt, fight, or befriend.
I'll leave that up there so we can.
Yeah, hunt, fight, or befriend.
I think hunting a caribou is probably pretty cool. I'm going to hunt that caribou.
I thought so too. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Let me do that because I'm not fighting any of them.
You're down to the panda and the aurochs then.
Hunt, fight, or befriend. I don't want to hunt no panda.
I had a panda and a koala, so.
Well, you guys also had like a muskrat, a gerbil, and a kitty cat one time, or a puppy.
I got a pup. I had a German Shepherd puppy, a koala bear, and a panda.
They still haven't found a gerbil though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We know where that's at. It's in the cage.
What is a aurochs?
Oh,
what is that?
Isn't that an African style of?
That's actually a good question. I
think it's an African type of, like a deer. I think it's bigger, like a kudu or something. Or am I wrong? Or is that a goat?
I was thinking something in Africa too, like that.
Oh, here it is. Let me see if I can share the screen here.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Has the real long antler. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I bet you them are tasty.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna hunt that too.
Yep.
and then I'm just gonna befriend that panda.
Yep, there you go.
There we go. There's a
Good call. I was gonna say it's your choice. You can hunt both of them. You want? Screw Johnny.
Yeah, I'm a killer, man. But
that's
panda,
right.
I'm not kind of into killing no panda, and I don't want to fight him. So me and him are gonna go our separate ways.
That's all right.
Yeah.
When I first saw that question, I was thinking the Lorax from the Dr. Seuss thing.
Oh, Lorax.
I'm like, man, it's a Dr. Seuss character. Why the hell would you want to hunt him?
Yeah.
He didn't do nothing to you.
That's awesome, man.
All right, so we're gonna run our quick little 2-minute little break here, and then we're gonna come back with Squatch's segment, and then we're gonna start diving into more of your personal style of hunting there, Brian. Sound good, buddy?
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Hey, go ahead and season your meat with something great. Try Flavors of the Forest raw garlic dust, made with only the finest ingredients for the finest wild game. Go ahead and use promo code Whitetail to save 15% on your next purchase. Go check them out.
Hey, guys, how are you? It's the Squatch from the Whitetail Advantage. Hey, listen, have you guys tried rec broadheads yet? Well, if you haven't, you're really missing out. I've been shooting rec now for over a year, and I'll tell you what, they fly straight, they fly true, and they're deadly on a deer. You can get the HXPs, you can get the FX4s, or you can just get the regular HPs. Guys, take it from the Squatch. The guys here at Whitetail Advantage, you can't go wrong with the rec broadheads. If you tune in, you watch our show, you can use the discount code for rec, WA15. And that'll give you 15% off your purchase. And you guys tell them that the Whitetail Advantage and the Squatch sent you. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. The show's going to be great. Squatch out.
Hey, you guys have a passion for the outdoors? You faith-based and love bow hunting? Go check out Bow Addicts. It's BOWADX. Genesis 27:3 says, take your bow and a quiver full of arrows. Go out into the open country to hunt some wild game for me. While we all love to go out and hunt wild game, we'd love to also wear it and represent what we believe. So go check out Bow Addicts and use promo code WHTADV10 to save 10% off your next purchase. That's WHTADV10 at checkout. Tell them the Whitetail Advantage crew sent you.
All right, this is the point in the show where Squatch is going to ask Brian a couple of things of what not to say to a game warden. I'm going to let him take over because.
Yeah, so what we do here, Brian, is I pretend I'm a, ECO guy for coming to get you, and I want your worst excuse of the situation, like what you wouldn't say to him at all, okay? So we'll start out with, hey, Brian, I walked up on you, and there's a pile of corn about the size of my truck. What's the deal with all that? Are you hunting over that?
Yeah.
Where was that corn at?
Yeah. Phil, that's my wife's.
All right.
Or how about it wasn't mine?
Yeah, sure it wasn't.
Yeah.
Sure
Cattle feed.
Did you just have a sign over except for squirrels and birds only?
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, here's another one for you. Brian, we noticed in your garage you got over 15 deer hanging, but 3 tagged. What's up with that?
I got a lot of friends, so they was I don't even know what to say that, but I will tell you, they bring them over here. It's the damnedest thing, Warden. I'm serious. They just bring them over here and they just hang them.
What you gonna do with them?
They're gonna come back and skin them up.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. I'll be right here waiting for him and make sure you got the proper paperwork.
I think, Squatch, I'm gonna have a bad day.
All right, here's another one for you. All right, look, I don't mind you hunting on state land, but why did you bring Brett Boven with you? And make him put on some damn sleeves. It's cold out.
Yeah.
Run hot, motherfucker.
I brought Brett, man, because he's a savage, man. I got to talking to him up there, and he's up north, and the deer he's killing, I knew if I got him over here on state ground, he'd sniff them out.
I don't think he knows where any state ground is, though.
Yeah, I mean, I just really want to know what was the secret of getting him out of bed very early
On a Saturday.
on a Saturday.
Hey, someone invites me to come hunt. I don't give a shit about the football games. I watch that stuff on my phone.
Yeah, I tell you, hey, Squatch, I had a little bit of a moment like that at the outdoorsman show when I was sitting there, and the conservation officer did come up to me, and he said, "Excuse me, is your name? Are you Brian Thacker?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Are these your deer?" And I was like, for a moment, I was like, "Oh shit! Did I
No.
did I put something wrong on Facebook? And did I kill them both in this?" What? I was like, "Yeah, they're my deer." And he goes, "Would you like?" Then he said, "Would you like to have them?" But there was a little bit of a moment, like, "Oh, what in the world?"
Yeah. No,
It's like, oh shit, what did I do wrong?
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
oh shit.
he's like, "Are those your deer?" And I'm like, "Oh boy."
I once had one. I was on a stream fishing, and I was right down the road from his house. This was years and years ago. So he comes down. He says, "How you making out?" I said, "I just got here." He says, "I need to see your license." I said, "No problem." Hand him the license. He says, "You sure you ain't got nothing on that stringer, huh?" I said, "No, I really just got here." "All right, take care." So he goes off. Well, I drive down maybe 4 or 5 miles down the road, same stream. About 20 minutes later, he comes walking down. "How you doing?" I said, "Good." I said, "Didn't I just see you about 20 minutes ago up the road?" "No, that wasn't me," he goes. I said, "You sure?" He says, "I need to see your license." I said, "Okay, no problem." I hand him my license. "How'd you make out?" I said, "I got 2. "Oh, yeah, I need to see him." So I pull him up out of the water. Yep, you're legal. I said, "Oh, I know the rules. I'm not going to break any rules." "All right, take care." I swear to God, the guy was following me around. I went down to the third spot. Here he comes again. I said, "Listen, man, you're going to check my license again? I just ran into you." He's like, "I have to check licenses every time I stop somebody." I'm like,
Don't stop me.
"Seriously?" I'm like, "You're going to make me pull my license out again." So, okay, here you go. "How many fish you got?" 3. "Well, you got 5 now." I said, "Oh, you remember the 5, huh?" He said,
Yeah.
you don't remember me, but now I got 5. Remember that. So he says, "All right, take care. Have a nice day." He was trying to write me for, I don't know. He was bored or something, but he just kept following me all around that stream, man.
Oh,
Man.
I have
I'd
a
probably be
question
doing
for
that
you,
too, though.
Brian. Actually, Brian from Brian.
Hey.
I wanted to ask Brian about his training regimen and how he's keeping his level of fitness at 56. Second part of the question, what is he doing during the hunting season to manage hunts and training?
What was that second part? What am I doing during the season to?
Yeah, what are
Okay.
you doing during the season to manage hunts and training?
Yeah, that's the hard part. So first of all, I guess I got into, I guess it was 2017. Well, first of all, I've been playing football. I wanted to go to college and play football, but I didn't. But I was a gym rat back in the day, back when we didn't know how to lift correctly. We just picked shit up and threw it down, and now my shoulders are all messed up from it because you had to bench 225 and then you had to bench 315 and get in all these clubs. But I would go and lift, and I always would go to the gym, and if I didn't go to the gym, I was doing something. So as I've gotten older, I can't press the weight that I used to press, but I do. Every day I get up and I do sit-ups, push-ups, air squats, calf raise. I try to do a whole body workout every day before work. And I have a little setup down in my basement. But I also do trail running. So when I'm talking trail running, it's a jog. But I like to get the cardio in through my body, and that helps me tremendously. And I know there was a point in my life where it hit me, and I think I was 48. I think it was about 48. And my wife went away for that week to Cancun with her girlfriends, and I'm sitting out back drinking a beer, and I'm watching a NASCAR race, and I have my shirt off, and I got pretty good sized TV out there, and it went to commercial, but the commercial didn't play. So the TV stayed black and my reflection came back off that TV. And I said, who's that fat ass? To my mind, belly hanging all out. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. I said, wait, where did that come from? So I was like, no, I gotta. So I actually found Cam Haynes on, just YouTube or whatever. He's just a madman, at his own right. But I was like, I might not be able to run a marathon every day, obviously, but I tell you what, I can get my ass out there, and it really inspired me with his keep hammering and stuff like that. And I took that motto, man, and from Cam Haynes, and just started being a better me, man. And I quit alcohol, like just totally stopped for 90 days. Well, first I stopped for 30 days. And that in itself, even though my wife wasn't happy about it, but we worked it out because she knew what my goal was. But I went from 200, I'm 5'6", and I went from I was 5'6", 206 to 5'6", 176. And I stay right around 185 right now, in that area, in 180. But, and I've taken on from that since then. And it's really, I'll take, whether it's a dry January or whatever, but I do take breaks from alcohol. And I really especially do not drink if I'm hunting. Now I will celebrate if I do kill a deer, obviously, but if I'm hunting, I'm not drinking because I want to be my best. And those are little things I did in my mind. And so it all comes from, we can all be motivated for a short period of time, but it becomes discipline. And if you just get disciplined to do it, it's like chipping every day. You will see yourself just slowly, like, man, the hill. I hunt some public land out in Ohio, and I have, it's a damn trek, man. And matter of fact, it was that trek I did this year that I killed a really nice buck, because a lot of guys don't go that way because they don't want to do that. And I not only kind of mentally say this is good for my body and my legs are burning and stuff, but I do know that it's also mentally giving me more confidence that I'm going somewhere maybe somebody else on public won't go. And maybe those deer are doing that too. And it just psychs me up. And that in itself keeps me going. So going back to that question, every day I get up, I have a routine I do. I really believe in, it's like ground and pound. I believe in push-ups every day. And if you can't do, if you fail when you're doing a push-up, what I've come to find, if you get on your knees and you just burn and burn and burn and burn, you know what I mean? Your muscle doesn't know you're on your knees. And those things you just got to fight, don't worry about what other people are doing. Because I think a burpee is like the worst exercise in the world if you're over 50. There's no need to be jumping up and doing all that. You'll be pulling, but smart exercises, get bands. I do a lot of band work. I have a bad shoulder, and I've had to fight through surgery, not having surgery, by doing band exercises every morning, so I can still pull my bow back. If I wasn't, if I didn't do my band work every morning, I guarantee you I wouldn't be able to pull my bow back. But I'm strengthening up other muscles. So during the season, it's tough because you're work and you're hunting. So if I'm not hunting, if I'm hunting, I'm not working out, period. I mean, it's just not going to work, because I'm up the next morning and I'm out and I'm back. And but when I'm back to work, the mornings before I go to work is when I exercise again. So anytime before I go to work, I exercise. When I come home in the evenings, it doesn't work for me because I have a wife and a dog that just, it's my everything. When I come home, everybody's got something. And, I can't find time to do that. So I try to do that while they're not up. So hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, he says right here, I do know what you mean. I do all those things as well. I'm spending 1 to 2 hours or 3-5 days a week in the gym. I do resistance bands right now, and I love the resistance bands. I think it's a lot more healthier on your joints and your ligaments. He had another comment. I lost it right now. Here it is. Super cool, man. I have been alcohol free since December 2023. I like the trail riding idea. I typically heavy ruck all spring and summer.
That's awesome.
Tough. That's
yeah,
tough.
man. Ruck's no shit, man. I mean, I got guys on the team that do the ruck, and it's inspiring. And I truly believe, going back to that, man, because I don't know if any of y'all know Cody DeQuisto, but he's a superior badass. And I told him that. And I said, I when I met him, I said, Cody, I said, my little neck of the woods, little Manassas, Virginia. I was a pretty little bit of a badass myself, but I come out here and I said, you guys are just just badass. And he looked at me and he said, Brian, iron sharpens iron. And I said, dude, it just went, I'm serious, man. It just went right through my body. I got the tattoo of it. I just freaking lived it to hang around people that excel and pick their brain a little bit, and don't be afraid of those people that are winning. Be with them, be humble, get humbled by it. And then the next thing you know, man, you're just slowly growing yourself, and that's getting out of your comfort zone. And that's what, I'm doing in my older age. And I tell you what, Brian at 56 is a more badass than Brian was at 46. And that's, that's just how I want to be at 66. You know what I mean? I just I don't want to be all decrepit, bent over, because it's just when if you discipline yourself, everything we're talking about today, it all comes down to fitness of yourself. It's mental first. It's and then it comes into your body of conditioning and all. And then when you have that, your confidence levels up. And guess what? You're a better husband, you're a better father, you're a better salesman, you're a better hunter.
Age is just a number.
I believe that. Well, your bones don't believe it, but I believe it.
Yeah.
You're right. Michael has a couple questions here. The first one is, were you in the archery hall at the Harrisburg Sports Show, Brian? I was there.
I was there the first weekend, and I was supposed to be the second weekend, and I got the flu that Friday, and it laid me out. But I was there the first. I was so bummed. I'm still bummed about it, man, because Cody was up there that weekend, and I had a lot of other teammates coming in that I didn't get to see, and I was wiped out. But yeah, I was there. I was there the first weekend.
His other question is, what draw weight are you pulling back on your bow? So
I was always from high school. It was 69. that was my draw weight. I had to be, it was always 69, 70 right in there. And when my shoulder injury, I went through that a year ago, and I went to 60. So I'm actually and I think now, since I've been doing a lot of training, I think I can go back to 70 now. But right now, I had good luck this year at 60. And what I always try to tell people this, and I see this at a lot of archery shoots, and I've seen this, if you're drawing like this,
It's
and then
too
you're
much.
coming down,
It's
no good. I recommend you sitting down. If you sit down and if you can't do this sitting down, then it's too much. Because I've even caught myself when I was in my stronger days getting stuck with a deer coming under me on a cold November morning, and I couldn't freaking draw the damn bow back because it was like the angle, you know what I mean? And I was like, what in the hell? And I had to raise, and the deer ran as soon as I raised. Then it was like, this is crazy. So, but I shoot 60 right now.
I always taught guys, take 2 fingers, put it on the string, bring the bow straight out in front of you, draw back, and you should be able to come back nice and slow. And then when you lock out, you get to your anchor point, still with 2 fingers. If you can't do that, you're drawing too much weight.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of times, I mean, we never know which way a deer is going to come, man. We think we do, but we don't. And if you're stuck and you have does around you and you got to make that draw, you can't move. It's just like, man, I mean, you don't want to be caught like that. And 60, I'll tell you, with bows today, 60 pounds will do it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back in the day, Ted Nugent's wife was taking him at 45 pounds, and so was Dan Fitzgerald.
Yep.
They were killing him with 45. I've killed him with 45-pound recurves.
Yeah, 60
I
pound.
mean, back in the
recurve.
day.
Yeah.
Yep. You don't need the heavy poundage. You need a good sharp broadhead and know exactly where to hit it consistently.
That's key there. You're exactly right. Consistent, like arrow placement, right?
Yep.
Well, I mean, I was taught when you pull back on a bow, you should be back already with your sight pin on where you want to hit. You're drawing the bow back to you, down to your anchor point. You're never changing that point of aim. So these guys that are rainbowing, and dropping their bow down, I don't know how the hell they're even aiming. I mean, they get away with it, but not the way I learned.
No, I mean if I don't know. I think it's a lot of social media too, where guys can say, they see some of these top guys pulling 80 pounds back, and they're like, I got to pull 80 back. And,
I used to do it. I had an 80-pound X-Force. I used to shoot. I had it cranked up, the cables twisted up to about 86, and it was cool. But now my Omen's down to 70, and that's probably maybe in a couple of years I might go down even more. You just don't, with the kinetic energy and speed of the new bows nowadays. You don't have to shoot 70, 80 pounds. I think now it's more of a I can do it than needed to do it.
Yeah.
Bitterroot comment. Clay Hayes is running 60-pound straight bows. He's a stone cold killer with those thick bows.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe Andre DeQuisto with Lone Wolf is shooting 55.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, and he's probably one of the most successful hunters, around. He's like the GOAT. So,
right.
I have a comment here from Don Stevens. What's up, Don? Yeah, good news with him as well. Can Brian talk about the perks of the Lone Wolf Arrowhead, some advantages and disadvantages?
Absolutely. It's a nasty head, man. The perks of it is that, especially if you're shooting lighter weight, it's not the kinetic energy. It's not having a front deploy, which is going to stop a lot of the air on a mechanical head. It's going to actually penetrate, and if you hit shoulder or anything like that, it's going to give you a good penetration. The disadvantage of is if you're off some versus a mechanical, you don't have that 2-inch cut that's going to maybe catch that liver or maybe that back part that you were hoping to. But it all comes down to confidence. Any broadhead will do the trick. I had a buddy of mine that actually didn't realize, and he shot a deer. He took it was early morning, and he had his field point on, and he shot the buck, and he couldn't find a blood trail, but he killed it with a field point.
Mm-hmm.
But he hit it right in the heart, like right through there. But if that arrowhead's very accurate, and it does a good job of like the exit hole. Like when you first see it, you're like, man, this thing's tiny.
Mm-hmm. But
man, it puts a wallop on them. And what's really good too is the price of everything nowadays. If you buy, I use a lot. I mean, I grew up shooting Thunderheads.
Yep.
And that's what's on that one.
There you go. That was tried and true. And then I was a Muzzy guy, Larry Fitzgerald and the Muzzy. I got on his wagon for the years, and then started branching off to mechanicals. And I've shot Rage, and I had good luck. I've never lost a deer with it. But then I went over to Grim Reaper. But Grim Reaper, for which I wouldn't get good pass through because it was a front deploy.
Yeah, it slows down.
It slows the arrow down. You lose a lot of kinetic energy on the opening.
Yeah, it knocks the shit out of them. But I mean,
it does.
And then I went to the Mega Meet, and the Mega Meet's been good as well. And then our Lone Wolf heads too, as far as the fixed. And what's nice about them is that you can resharpen them. Yeah, you buy three Mega Meets, and it's like $50-$60, and then you're done. Each shot, you're done. I mean, it's never the same unless you can,
Yeah, that's the problem you'll have with the mechanicals because of their design. You're going to lose the blades, or the heads aren't going to hold up, and they're pretty much you'll get your deer, but you're probably more or less going to have to get a whole new head because a lot of them you can't get replacement heads for it, and it damages the ferrules. you know, because they're thinner because they have to make room for the big cutting blades. So they're veined out and cut out. But yeah, I agree.
I definitely shoot them. I don't like a broadhead that flies a little bit more left in my field point. You know what I mean? Where you have to, if
you gotta knock tune it.
Yeah. So if it's flying just like my field points, and I feel confident, and that's what's going on my bow.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
I have a question from Michael. Do you use cell cameras? And his other question is, what is your favorite way to hunt deer, to deer hunt? Saddle, ground blind, box blind, etc.
Hang on or whatever. Yeah.
We do have a lone wolf camera. I have not used it. I'm not much into cameras too much. I actually just got into camera hunting in 2019, believe it or not. And I'll deep dive into that. But yes, we have an awesome camera that will actually do videos. So you can check that out on Lone Wolf customgear.com and check out our camera. It's a SD card camera, but it's actually, the footage on it is incredible. And it also, when you put it on the tree, you don't have to worry about brackets, about moving. It'll actually move in which way you want it to go. And it's camoed into the tree. It's really nice.
Oh, that's cool.
I actually prefer, and I always have preferred, to lock on. I used, kind of run and gun. In the day, I started off using climbers in my younger years. Yeah. And I started off with the old bungee cord baker tree stand around your feet. And like to kill myself. It was crazy. I was hanging. The whole stand slipped on me one time, and I was hanging. I was like 18 years old, but I was 20 feet up hanging with just a hand climber, and the stand's down at the bottom of the tree. So it's like, and then I found in the 90s, what I was saying, it was the Alpha Lone Wolf, and it had a belt system that went around the tree with the hook. Yep. And I would preset trees with the screw-in steps. Mm-hmm. And I would preset these trees and put straps so nobody, and then I would take my steps out of the trees and put little sticks in there. So nobody, if any trespassers were coming through, they wouldn't know where I was. And then I would take the stick out and they were already pre-done, and I'd go up the trees. I hunted like that for many years. And then when I got on the staff of Lone Wolf 2 years ago, I got introduced to the 0.5 tree stand. And that thing is amazing. It's like 5.3 pounds. And the sticks they have, I use these 14-inch double sticks, and they have an 8er on the bottom. And what's so great about the custom gear is the system of itself. So what I mean about that is, before that, I was using the Alpha with these muddy sticks, but the muddy sticks never went together good. I like the cam strap that were nice, but you'd have to bungee cord them up, and then you had this big pack in your back, and then everything was kind of all discombobulated, and you made it work. Well, the system on the Lone Wolf tree stand and the sticks, they come together, and then they sit on your stand because of the patent platform seat locks. So you have the seat will lock, and then the sticks sit there. And then you can put your bag and everything on the back. And then once you learn to use those sticks, it's a game changer, man. It really is. What you have to do, though, is for me, I'm a very impatient person. So I always have to take a deep breath before I go in the woods and realize you're going into the deer woods. That's not your life, right? So they don't, you have to do a brake check before you walk into the woods, because I always want to hurry and get to my tree stand and get up and sit down. And it's like, you got to go slow and be methodical. And then once you learn to do that, I can climb up a tree. I actually timed myself because I wanted to know how long it took. But I from the set, got to the tree. By the time I pulled my bow up, I sat down. It was 10 minutes.
That's good.
Yep.
So 10 minutes. And this is me, this 56-year-old guy going up a tree. I'm sitting at 15 feet, got my bow in my hand at 10 minutes. So I prepare that in my mind, like, hey, this ain't taking too long. And the sticks, I'll run usually like 3 14-inch sticks. But when I have found that I carry 4 now because you never know what you're going to run into. So,
Yep, you might have to go up higher.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
Brian, I have a question here. What are your thoughts about a podcast being specifically designed or created to geared towards individual hunters over the age of 50 or 45, 50 over?
Well, that'd leave you out.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
On 2
Well,
accounts.
no shit, dip.
Yeah, a man and over 40.
Yeah. Got to hunt first. Got to get out of bed.
You got to be a hunter. Oh my God.
That's
Jesus.
right.
Squatch is going in hard tonight.
Yeah, man. I think it would be tremendous. And I actually, I was telling this to my wife. I was like, I don't know what the hell happened, but everybody's 30 years old now.
Yeah.
It's like everybody I talk to on the staff is like my kid's age. It's like, what has happened? I mean, when did this happen? I mean, how old are you? I'm 32. How old are you? I'm 34. How is you? So they started calling me like, how old are you? I said, I'm 56. They call Uncle Thack. So they call me Uncle Thack. Because I was like, so I'm like, all right, well, but I have, and I don't mean to have the respect, but I think some people are like, man, dude, I respect you, for you doing. And I was like, wow, man, I'm humbled by that because I appreciate that. And I think guys really, as we get older, I think there's still a lot of things we can do. And just having, to talk about, how can you hunt into your 60s mobile? Why can't you? There's no reason you can't.
Nope. Even 70s, honestly.
Really? I believe that.
Take care of yourself. There's no reason why you can't go mobile.
Yep. No reason. And there's nothing
barring an injury.
Yeah. And if you have 100 acres and you have a redneck blind and you sit up in there with a TV and you shoot a deer, good for you. But I promise you, in your soul, that deer is going to mean more to you if you climb a mountain, go up through all this stuff, put everything up, and then you shoot him that way. When you hang him on the wall, that story is going to be different.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what I mean? So either way, it's all in. Do you really? Because I mean, sometimes I ask myself, it's like, and I have buddies that have these redneck blinds, and I went and helped build a few, and he put carpet in it and had these glass windows, and I'm like, holy shit!
I got one like that.
When it's snowing outside, you're in the elements. I was like,
it's 80.
You're not out there. It's like,
I was sending pictures to these guys, man. I had the heater on, freaking t-shirt on there, 20 degrees out. I'm sitting there cozy, nice and cozy.
I just climbed, because I just climbed up with my sticks and my hang on, and it's snowing out, and it's like 8 degrees. And Squatch is like, man, it's like 65 in here, and I don't feel a breeze. It is, and then he goes, it is snowing out, son of a gun.
Yeah, it's nice, man.
I know you got the heater buddy by your feet, Squatch.
I had it. Oh, hell yeah. I got that thing cranked up, man. I'm sitting there in the thong. I'm ready to go, man.
I remember when I was in Ohio, my feet were so freaking cold. I took my boots, and this is up in a tree stand, man, a lock on. You know how hard that is. Take rubber. I had rubber boots at the time. Took them off to put my hand warmers in my feet.
Oh yeah.
And it was like that was like something on Survivor I freaking pulled off to do, and I was like, I never want to go through that shit again.
Yeah.
I do have heated socks now. I use. So.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah,
I have a heated vest, and I love that thing.
Yeah, I just got a Milwaukee heated hoodie.
Brett's got a heated Snuggie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sleeping bag on his bed.
Got a Snuggie. Sneezes it. Oh, so warm in here.
It looks like a Teletubby.
Green Teletubby.
But hey, Brett, I think that's a great thing, man. Because
that would be cool.
I do. That's something that that I know there's an audience for that for sure.
I'm just curious only because it just seems like obviously social media is now a young man's game. And I'm not saying I'm young, but I'm 31. And hunters nowadays are phasing out of hunting. And we're going to have more in-depth questions about this with another guest. But I guess my question would be for you is, with people phasing out of it, I mean, besides you, it just doesn't seem there's a lot of older gentlemen that are into social media, listening to podcasts or anything like that. This is kind of new stuff for them, so it's like kind of foreign to them. So would it be even worth it? I mean, how would you be able to get these people to listen to your stuff, reach out to them? Because most of the time, half these people, they might not have a social media, or they're in their 50s or 60s and they don't do any of that stuff.
Well,
I
my
think-
buddy Dan's a prime example that just started listening that won the Broadheads. He didn't have Facebook, he didn't have Instagram or nothing until I told him, hey man, you should get on here and check this out. And then he got on YouTube and watched it one time. And I think that's what we got to do is it's going to have to be spread the word.
A lot of people that age don't have reason to be on social media.
Yeah.
They didn't have it growing up, or they didn't have it, they got off the merry-go-round before then. But when you give them a reason, when there's a bunch of guys like us, we're getting it out there and we're talking about our experiences. And, like you said before, I mean, it was a Polaroid picture. I mean, I got pictures right here on the wall, me and my grandfather. Every time I shot a deer, we had to go in the garage where the deer was hanging up. It's a Polaroid picture. I mean, that's priceless, man. It's stuff you don't have anymore.
Yeah.
Those days of standing by the meat pole, and you taking a picture with something hanging up, or going to a check-in point and having bragging rights at everybody in the neighborhood who shot the bigger deer. Those days are over. This here, social media now is all that.
Yeah.
And we need to carry that flame, and be the guys who bring this out and share it with each other. And like Brian said before, when the hell did I get to be the old guy in the group? And it's, being on 2 podcasts, talking to a lot of people. Holy shit, these guys are 25 and 30 years old. Look, we got Mike. He's 14. I wish I had these guys. I'm just me. I'm average me. I ain't no pro. But I wish I had the knowledge, the information every day on a weekly basis that comes out. There's not a day of the week you can't tune in and find a podcast that somebody's talking about deer hunting. There was none of that information for us. We had to learn. We had to learn it on our own. Maybe that puts us a little bit of a step ahead because we've got that boots to the ground stuff. But
absolutely,
I mean, geez, man, we're lucky. I feel lucky to grow up at the time I grew up.
Oh, I agree.
I
totally agree.
I mean, we didn't have the quick answers. We didn't have the idiot box phone in front of us telling us every damn fact there was. But you know what? I got by without all that shit. I got by with how to drive from point A to point B by reading a paper map. I mean, you can't hand a map to a kid today. They wouldn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
With it,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I think this year is going to be my first year I'm stepping away from trail cams.
Yeah.
I'm going back to.
Well, send yours to me because I'll use them.
Okay.
But Brian,
I just found. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, you're good.
No, go ahead, Brian. Brian's our guest.
Oh, I was just curious, Brian. How would we reach out to you though?
So I think as you're growing, Brett, your show's growing. You're getting a good platform. When, like we're saying, there's going to be guys that have kids. The kids are going to see it, go, Dad. Family members are going to see it and go, hey, Johnny. Hey, word of mouth. Things are going to go. This guy, I'm going to start following him. And it's going to, organically, I think it's going to grow that way, and then you don't know unless you try it. I don't see anybody else actually pushing that or looking at doing that at all. I mean, really, I haven't, but I know that on my whitetail addiction team and Lone Wolf, we have some guys older than me on that. And it's very inspiring to me that I see it. And I get to rub, elbows with a couple guys there, man. And I'm like, man, I love it. We're at the Gold Gray, the white tops, and we see each other and we're like, hey, we're still banging and hanging and getting it done. And it's just the that drive and to also, it keeps you young, man. It keeps your mind young versus I believe if you get caught up in the easy and you just it's just like anything in life. If you're off on vacation for 2 weeks with nothing to do, and then you look at yourself, what if, did you get any better? Or, when you're deer hunting, if you're moving and grinding and you're going places and you're doing things, you're just increasing your chances of harvesting a bigger or a great animal, but you're also conditioning your body. You look at it mentally too, like, hey, you know what? I'm actually getting exercise doing this stuff, and I'm actually fighting. I'm going to, get out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to climb over that other freaking hill and get to this hill. And I'm going to go there instead of staying near the truck, or I'm going to just go back into here. And a lot of times, most of the times it doesn't work out. But at the end of the day, you feel that it's in your heart, man, that, hey, man, I did all I could do. If I have a tag sandwich this year, I did all I could do. And then mentally, I can accept that. But if I didn't do all I could do and I have a tag sandwich, shame on me. Shame, I didn't do everything I could do. But I think guys, as we get older, I think we need to hit that generation of the old timers, like you're saying, Squatch, man. You can't replicate woodsmanship, man. You can't. Like, did you know? And this is for all of us here. Did you know blue jays love freaking white oaks?
Yep.
And did you know when you go into the woods for the first time and you hear a bunch of blue jays cracking off over on a ridge, that's probably a pretty damn good ridge.
Yep.
I don't know, but I tell you what, I found it successful to listen to those things and look at the crack for deer in my area is the white oak.
Yep.
And
here too.
And then understanding what that tree looks like. What's a red oak tree look like? If you don't unless you have a big ass cornfield and bean field, where's it's very simple. Deer are like people. They have to eat, sleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you're married long enough, they have sex one time a year, like me. So it's like, but no, seriously.
Gotta get a permission slip.
Permission slip. And it's like, all kidding aside, it's just, they only have that one moment to mate, right? From November through December. And then you kind of catch them lucky. But before that, all that, there's got to be food, bedding, food. They got to sleep, eat. And it's simple. But society and social media, and there is a lot of stuff out there, make it more complicated with the cameras, with all this stuff. And and what we didn't have was that, not that, but also I don't remember any corn piles me growing up. I didn't remember any of that. I didn't. No, seriously. No. That wasn't even a thing. So It was like that started becoming later. And then it was like, oh, deer come to corn, let's throw a pile of it out. And then it's not legal in your state. Right. So you have to go out to Ohio to do it or wherever. Yep. And then it's just like, how many deer are killed that way versus actual hunting?
Right.
Seriously, there's a tremendous amount that it's either, I personally believe it should be all legal or it should not be legal.
Yep.
I really do. I believe it should be one way. The dividedness of what you can go over to West Virginia and come to Virginia and it's different. Mm-hmm. It's like, what in the world? It's like, but I guess, over time it'll catch maybe it's not anywhere, because of the CDC and stuff. I don't know, but
yeah.
Well, I was just curious because I know one individual's thinking about doing that type of project, and so that's why I was asking on his behalf. Michael, he had some questions, he had some comments leading up to this, and this big comment here was, but it stinks because of a lot of boys in my grade, they think they are jocks and are so cool and think they are the best, and who think hunting and being in the outdoors is weird and just laugh at you. Now, to that point, I used to be a jock. Used to be what in my class and grade, we never looked down upon anybody in any regards. I mean, we had special needs kids in our class, and we would, in our specific school, we had a main hallway, and you'd have all the seniors line up on the entire hallway before school and during their lunchtime, and we had everyone sit with us and talk with us. Now, kids these days, I'm not sure, but they're fighting a lot because they don't know if they're a boy or a girl. They don't know if they want to identify as a cat or a fucking dog. And so I'm just going to leave it at that point. But the fact that jocks and kids, these days, I want to say this without knowing or anything about the background or anything in that regards. I'm just speculating here. Kids that think they're jocks, they are eventually just going to have their own personality and their own characteristics of they're going to try and skate through life on their own looks and not work as hard. And basically they'll eventually turn out to be a lazy fuckhead, in my opinion.
Yep.
Kids that are in the outdoors and they're out there fighting and grinding, they are going to have their own set of skills and their own set of characteristics where eventually once they get older, they're going to have their true identity, who they are, not compared to the kids that are jocks or anything in those regards, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, man, I'm just going to chime in. The one thing you left out is that they have mommy and daddy's money, right? That's a whole different. That's a whole different child.
Too, yep.
So that child, that child's going to be good no matter what they do, right? But for the average kid, and you're exactly right. You know, I was an at-risk child, man. There's no way. If you saw my upbringing, I mean, we could have our own podcast on this thing, but if you saw that, you'd be like, how are you where you're at? And the only reason I'm where I'm at, man, is because I had good football coaches. I had a great grandfather and my uncle that taught me the outdoors and steered me in the right direction. And I had guidance. And you know, I went out for the middle school football team. I was late because I was cool. I thought I was cool. And the coach made me bear crawl right in front of everybody and embarrassed me. And I was like, I didn't even know what a bear crawl was. And the next thing you know, the next day I was ready there just to whip everybody's ass who laughed at me. You know what I mean? I had a fire in my belly. And then it was like, you have to have good grades. What's good grade over a C? I had D's. So now I had to study. And then, man, I started becoming good at football. And then next thing you know, all the hot girls started liking me. And it's like, this is cool as shit. And it just changed my life, man. It was just like, I want to do that, but I had to work hard. And like you say, man, I've never had a penny given to me, man. I lived in a trailer. My first, I got married living in a $14,000 trailer, raising a son in it, man. And it was like, you know, $6 an hour, my first job. And it's just those hardships. And I think it's, you know, a lot to what you say, Brett, is really true, because that's why I'm in this world, man. We're spoiled in society. We're all spoiled. I mean, we don't know what hard is, right? People, we see people bitching and moaning about hardships. We don't know what hardships is, man. I mean, hell, I used to have to boil water, you know, just because we didn't, you know, we didn't have it, you know, at times. And it was just like, I had roaches that went across I'd flick them off my spoon and eat my cereal. No big deal. It's like, those are just things, you know, we grew up with that. We're just, man, we got cars now that are like iPads on wheels, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, what the, you know, and we're bitching about that. If your CarPlay don't, it's a bad day, right? If your CarPlay don't work, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Bitterroot commented, this is driving with some good comments right here. There's a difference in being athletic and into sports and being a jackal a-hole. My son was a highly successful football player and played in college. He also hunted every chance he got. So much so that he found a deputy in the college town to leave his guns with so he could hunt at school. I mean, and he goes on to say good coaches are everything. My coach, when I was growing up, our philosophy was we'll fight anybody, anywhere, anytime, and we'll fight them on ice. And I took that same motto into my own personal life and into hunting, where it's like, we say hunting is it's not a sport, or we try not to make a competition. I make hunting a competition between me and everybody else, where I'm not going to go out and like, nothing in those regards. It's just my own personal way of doing things. It's how I approach hunting. It's how I approach everything. But Michael commented here, the sad part is they make fun of the kids who have some issues and can't do everything. They think they are the only ones who matter. Better goes on and perfectly stated, those are called bullies. They are
Yeah.
fucking bullies.
You're going to have them in every school. And
You're going to have them fucking everywhere. You're going to have them
Yep.
as you grow up in life. And eventually,
and they're just going to make you stronger if you deal with it, honestly.
honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I got picked on when I was growing up as a kid, and I loved and getting picked on sucks. Don't get me wrong, but getting picked on, in my opinion, and being bullied is a good thing, in my opinion, because it's gonna define. You're gonna learn a lot about yourself. You're gonna, like, they call it ghost mode right nowadays, where it's like, go hide yourself in your closet or whatever, 6 months. You're gonna read books, become smarter, become intelligent. You're going to find things more about you, and you're going to develop a lot more things, and you become a thicker skinned type of person, and you're going to defend and stick up for other people. You're not just going to be going around. I'm just going to stop it right there.
You know, Michael, I'm going to tell you something. All right. I'm 5'5". All right. When I was in school, I was 175 pounds. I got out of school, was out in the bars and stuff, and everybody loved to pick on the short guy. There's a reason why there's not much knuckle left in them hands, okay? Many a day I busted heads, and I made sure people knew who the hell I was. But, you know, it's not always the right road to go down. I mean, you got to stand your ground and defend yourself and stuff. But, you know, those people really just need to learn the hard way sometimes. And, you know, don't let people walk all over you. Stand your ground. You know, and don't go getting yourself in trouble, but make sure you don't take no crap either.
No, man. And go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you'll find out with bullies, they're bullying because they're more insecure with themselves and what they have going on in their lives, that they have to go down a different road to pick on somebody else to make themselves feel better about themselves. So when they're picking on you, it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with you per se or what you do. You know, they're trying to find a way to make themselves look popular and cool, and whatever they got going on in their own lives, they got problems. You know, most of the bullies you see don't have, everything's not all hunky dory at home and everything's not cool. And, you know, all the time they probably got some issues going on, and that's why they pick on it. Because why else would you pick on somebody? Honestly, if everything's good in your life, you have no reason to mess with anybody.
No, that time, you know, that time in the world will never be again. But, you know, that world in the 80s, you know, when you're talking about your hands busted up, that was, you had to have, it's called street credit. Right. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I had it myself, you know, and I'm not proud of the fights I was in, and I just had to do it. And it's just what we did. And we got older, you'd have a beer with the guy probably the next day. I mean, and it wasn't weapons being drawn. It wasn't none of that. It was like, hey, I'll tell you a quick story. Just where when my first job was on a Coca-Cola truck, and the Pepsi guy took my sign down, and I found his ass, and I pulled up to him in my truck, and I'm in a gooseneck, big tractor trailer truck. I pull up face to face, and he's at the store. And he comes out. I say, hey, man, you take my sign down. And he goes, yeah, I put mine up. He goes, is that right? I said, I tell you what, dude. So here's my pager. And we had the big pagers at the time about this, you know. So and I said, here's my pager. You take your pager. We're going to sit them down here. We're going to walk behind the Safeway in the cornfield. Whoever can come back and get their pager can have that sign. And then he had a swing guy. He walked out. He said, man, what's going on? I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, all three of us are going to put our pagers down, and we're going to go out here in this field, and we're going to settle it. He said, "Oh, what?" Took my sign. He goes, "Dude, you're effing crazy." I said, "I am." And you know what? We left that day, but he never messed with my stuff again. But those were just how we handled things, and it's like
it was different back in the 80s. That's what you did.
Yeah, you don't.
That's how you got respect.
Yeah, if you roll up on somebody like that today, you're going to get, you know, who knows what kind of. You'll lose your job. You'll be under all this. So I don't recommend anybody handling things that way, but you can't be bullied if you're bullied on, because I mean, we grew up, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you, right? Remember that? I mean, we would always hear that. So I've noticed even my children, sometimes things are said and they get like, oh, like it's a word. Like, yeah, it's a word. Like, how does that, like it does but we got to always remember we're not our children. And we're not back in those days, and it's just we can help coach them through those things. of this. Jocks, when I grew up, hunted too, man. Some of the guys I looked up to were savages, man. And I was like, dude, that dude's a badass. He's a stud football player. He freaking hunts. He does fishes and how, it's becoming what I just saw there. I didn't realize that in school. I didn't realize jocks separated themselves now.
It is big time.
It's
like
a little.
Yeah, because we used to bring our guns to school.
Absolutely.
Pickup trucks with the little gun racks in the back.
Me too.
Half the football team, we all had our vehicles with gun racks in the back. And as soon as we'd leave practice, we all went out and hunting. And then next practice, we're like, hey, man, I got this. Or I saw this, but I missed them.
Yep.
But,
I'll say this, and there's a couple comments about that topic. When I was growing up, my dad always said, if I find out that you started because they, the saying, you're a wolf or a sheep or a sheepdog.
Yeah.
How the wolves attack the sheep and the sheep, you better be that fucking sheepdog. My dad always said, if I find out that you started a fight, I'm going to have your ass. But if I find out you're defending somebody and you didn't start the fight, but you ended the fight, then you got my back and full support. I told my dad that this kid kept bullying me. And this was roughly 5th grade, roughly. So he started to teach me fighting, started teaching me working out more and more. Eventually, he said, if you punch a kid right here in the thigh a couple of times, they're not going to want to walk again.
Hey.
Sure as shit, he starts picking on me more. And I kept telling him, dude, stop it. Leave me alone. I don't want to be picked on anymore. He kept going. So eventually we got on the ground. We started fighting. I punched him a couple of times in the thigh. He started crying like a little baby back bitch. And the principal started trying to get me in trouble. I ended up getting ISS. And my dad said, well, who started the fight? And they said it was the kid. So my son was only defending himself. He said, yeah. So why is he getting in trouble?
Yeah,
just defend yourself basically and do it.
I never grew up with the leg shot there. That was interesting. That was some good technique.
It was. Well, when your dad was a cop, he taught you a couple of things of how to hurt people without leaving any signs, and that was one of them. And that high muscle spot right there. So just a couple times.
I'd say, man.
It felt good. I just kept laying into it. I didn't want to stop.
We used to call that the Hertz donut.
Yeah.
Hertz donut.
Yeah.
We hit you.
But hey, man, I've had it like, bullying now doesn't have to be like bullying now. I think for the generations, text, social media. Where I actually got a little bit of that when I did a post and I had a guy just say, hey man, you're fake. You don't do this and you don't do that and your deer aren't that. And I'm like, what in the hell is this all about?
Mm-hmm.
And I almost 3 times. It was 3 times I almost responded back and went down that rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
But thank God, because once you do, dude, there's no coming back. It's out there forever. Yeah. And thank God I was raised that 2 wrongs don't make a right. And that stuck on me so much with that comment. All I'm going to do is reply to somebody I don't know of something that is going to be so bad that I just shut my computer. And I was like, and I just let that person, it still flares up every blue moon here and there. You know what? I move on. I don't even respond. And that's the best thing I can tell kids, or youngsters, just to say, hey, 2 wrongs don't make a right. They never will.
One thing to keep in mind too is like when people say shit like that on the keyboard and they're talking a bunch of crap, let them, because damn well they won't say it to your face. They're not going to walk up to you. So if they got the balls to walk up and say something to your face, let them run their little yaps. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Keyboard warriors. That's right, man.
Yeah, Justin says it perfectly. Keyboard warriors.
Yep.
Well, Dave, you have any final questions here for Brian?
Actually, I was just going to ask him, like, the terrain that you hunt. What is it like?
Typically, I'm in suburban areas. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of hill, a little bit of hill, not much ag around. The ag, I don't really, one of my really good spots, I don't see any bucks until Halloween. Like they don't come off these farms. And that's how I've been successful is in some areas is that I've been able to get permission on adjacent properties from the good properties. But when those good properties get hunted, I'll catch a big bruiser slipping in to be safe in these little 10-acre spots. And I don't really have a lot of land I hunt, but when I do go out to Ohio, I do go into some vast wilderness where some hills and terrain. But I'm always very, just from a child, it's ingrained in me. I'm always looking for the food source. So I'm always kind of looking when I go into areas of where are the does, are they, where are the white oaks? And if there's a lot of does there, that's what you want, depending on, and then, sooner or later, the boys are going to come because the does are in there. Right. So it's like, I always try to find that. My younger years, I would mess up and just look for big open woods. And just because I could see far, I'd get 30 feet up in a tree. And I think that was the best spot. Didn't realize the shitty, nasty briar patches is where the big freaking deer are. Right.
Yep.
I didn't realize that until I've gotten older, and I've realized that, it's amazing what deer can walk through, because, just because you think those briars are tough to get, they walk through like it's nothing, man. And it's like, so that's kind of something that's helped me through over the years. I mean, I've shot, hundreds of deer, man. And it's kind of, you get into that gut instinct, that smell. Sometimes you can smell it, man. You can
smell the musk,
right? Yeah. You just walk in, it's like almost the hair crawls up the back of your neck, man. You're just walking in and you're like, oh shit, this is it. This is it. And that's where, we're talking about cameras, man. Just technology can be your friend and it can be your worst enemy, man.
Yeah.
You think that if you start hunting cameras, then you're missing.
Screwed.
Yes. Now it's good for inventory. I mean,
yes. But you can chase
inventory.
your tail really, really fast trying to chase them on a camera.
100%, man. And I know we got to wrap up in a minute, but one of my nicest deer I've killed was the first year I used the camera in 2019. It gave me the inventory he was there, which was perfect. I never knew, so focused all my energy on it. But it almost screwed me because I thought that he disappeared for a week, and I would never hunt unless I had a south wind, because of the way I always saw him facing. So I figured he was always coming out from the north. So I was like, I can't ever go this way. So that morning, I only have limited time to hunt. I didn't go that morning. My wife gets out of, this was October 19th. So it's already like 2 weeks in the bow season. And she's like, why are you sitting here? I said, I said, because the wind's wrong. She said, what do you mean the wind's wrong? I said, I got this new app, honey. It's a wind app. And it says that the wind's coming out of the south and I need a north wind. And she's like, what the hell is a wind app? I said, it's the latest greatest thing. So she's making her coffee and she looks over at me and she goes, I've known you your whole life and you have a lot of deer on the wall and you have never spoke any kind of gizmo app stuff. And I said, hey, this is a huge deer. I don't want to mess it up. She goes, okay, honey. She's stirring her coffee. She goes, I don't know a whole lot about hunting, Brian, but I do know one thing. And I said, what's that? She goes, you can't kill him sitting there on the couch. And I said, you know what? I got pissy, man. I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to go. She goes, no. I don't want to mess you and your app up. And I said, no, listen. I said, listen, I'm freaking going to. So I went and I get up in the tree at about 3:00. The wind's blowing out just the way I didn't want it to blow. And I'm like, you know what? This totally sucks. 4:00 comes, 5:00 comes, 6:00's about to come. And I'm about ready. I think I've done blown the whole area out. And I hear this very faint, and I'm like, what? And I look, and here come like 8 does. And behind him, I saw some tines. And I was like, I didn't know it was him yet. I called him Kicks because he had one kicker off his left G2. And I said, damn, that's a buck. So I got my bow. And all these does were coming. And one doe was bouncing around and she was coming in. So she was all frisky. And he wasn't chasing her, but he was going everywhere she went slowly, right? Just tending her. And she come bouncing by me. And when I looked and I saw his rack, I said, holy shit, it's Kicks. He came straight at 26 yards and he's looking at my tree and I got doe all around me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then he lip curled, shook his head. He's got a 20-inch inside spread. So he shook his head. It's crazy. I about fell out of the freaking tree. And then the doe, I was like, how am I going to pull this? She ran. He started turning broadside. And when he turned broadside, I had these deer. And just like we're talking about being able to draw back slow, I said, it's now or never. And that's the beauty about bow hunting is it's like once you get from here to here and them deer were still there, it's just like in a matter of, I would say 5 to 10 seconds, 20 things go through your mind. Like, don't torque it, follow through. You do this every day. It's 25 yards. Hang in there. Don't torque it. Just let it go. Be smooth. And then you let it go. And it's like, oh shit. It's like bang. And then all hell breaks loose. And you're just like, but I wound up making a great shot. And he died within like 70 yards down the hill. I found him and was as the first deer I've ever went up to. And I actually cried, man. I sat down beside him because I had all that footage from July. It was like we had a relationship.
Yeah, history.
And I tell this story because it's like I would have never went though if I would have listened to what they say about and what my app said and what the camera said. The only thing my camera did for me, it was tell me there was a big deer there. Everything else, I would have never killed it unless my wife didn't tell me to go, you know? So the moral of all that is just for deer hunting, you got to be there.
So put your time in.
Yeah, you got to be there. I mean, it's just, you're missing it.
Squatch, do you have any final questions from Brian?
No, I think I'm pretty well set, man.
There was a couple here, and if I missed some questions here through the comments, I apologize for it. But I know there was one that I marked. Let me see if I can find it real quick because we do have to wrap it up. Don Stevens asks, what method are you using as you climb the tree to hold your sticks?
I'm using a buckle system. So it actually is a buckle strap. So when I go up the and I wish I had a stick with me now, but it's upstairs in my garage. I hang them by the aiders. So the aiders are in good condition when I don't like keeping stuff folded up. But I actually will put the stick on the tree and then, well, before I put the stick on the tree, you could take the belt and put on the edge of your cleat of your, it's a T, right? It's like an eye. I'm sorry, like a big eye. And you put the belt on the, and you just hand it around the tree to yourself. And then it hooks on. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't use that type of stick though, but
yeah. These are XOP X3s, but I took the buckle off, but
yeah. So I lost you there, but we have a micro stick now that's buckleless. That is, and you just figure eight it around. It's pretty, so there's no buckle involved. So I'm looking forward to maybe trying that one out, but I still like, I use the buckles with it, but you got to use some stealth strip tape. I put on the buckles because, and I also put them on my points of contact of the tree stand itself. In that last tree stand before I hang it, I keep the buckle I keep it with me. Don't hang it on the tree because I don't want it to clink, because you got to have the self-strip tape on it.
Let me see. The other one was Michael asked, what's your that's the other one. What's your favorite deer hunting rifle?
Oh man. So growing up, because I was a meathead, it had to be a 7mm Magnum that blew a freaking deer leg off. But then my buddies had like 300 Magnum, and we're shooting like 50-pound does, and you can't find half of them. But as I got older, I have two. My 7mm 08. It's like a neck down 308, 7mm 08. I love that gun. Has hardly any kick, and then my 25-06 for if I have long range. That's my tack shooter. But
I'm not a big rifle guy. I know Dave and Squatch and Johnny, they know their rifles and shit. I don't know a whole lot about rifles, and it's weird coming from a former cop, but I was always into archery, and that's all I do is archery hunt.
Yeah, I migrated that way too, Brett. I'll take them out just to knock the dust off. I was hoping to get lucky with my 25-06 this year, and I took one time the 708 out too, but nothing got skunked.
Yeah. Well, Brian, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come on the show. But before we let you go, we got a couple rapid fire questions we're going to shoot your way, okay?
Yes, sir.
Besides hunting, do you have any other hobbies or interests?
Wow. Hunting is my main hobby, but I do love fishing. Love bass fishing and striped bass fishing. And then I used to be, when my kids were younger, I lived for coaching them all through youth sports and stuff like that. So pretty much, besides if I'm not hunting and fishing, I'm playing around with my dog and spending time with my wife and seeing my kids when I can.
What wild game animal is on your bucket list to hunt?
It's going to be, before elk, I think it's going to be a mule deer. Just cool animal.
We know somebody that's in mule deer territory, and I know he was pissing Dave off, was sending the videos in a good way. He was pissing him off in a good way.
Hey, Dave, I think you're muted, dude.
Dave muted because he's a dumbass. Eventually, he might learn shit. We don't know.
Unless he's looking like a Godzilla movie, I can't tell.
Yeah. Da, 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 da.
When they would go, hello.
I hated that. The timing shit always pissed me off with that. That was my dad's favorite movie growing up outside of Jurassic Park. And I'd be like, Dad, why is the sound coming? And then all of a sudden their voice stopped moving and it's like doesn't add up. But
I don't think they could figure it out back then.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think they could either.
Oh, you're back, dude. You're back.
Yeah. I moved and I think came unplugged. But
Okay, he's not going to answer the question. Okay, never mind. Michael asks, do you waterfowl hunt, Brian?
I do not. Now I have some friends that do, and I do have some shotguns. So I heard it's just awesome. But I've never have. Just the only bird's a turkey.
Yep. What is a wild game animal you want to try eating in the whole world? And we'll say this. We always like to say this. Johnny wants to try neck from a giraffe. I'm just going to throw that out there now.
Oh, man, wild game animal that I want to try eating. You know what? To be honest with you, I've never had elk. And I've heard it is delicious.
Yeah, it's really good.
I really want to do that just because I hear it's just so good.
Apparently Michael wants you to try possum. I feel like I'd just be eating trash at that point.
Is that like, hey, Michael, is that like carp?
Mm.
Yep. Oof.
I don't know about that. What is your favorite state you've hunted? Oh, we lost Dave. But hey, we lost Dave. Yay.
Come back, Dave. Battery must have ran out.
He probably unplugged himself again.
Actually, right now, I would say Ohio is my favorite. I went out to Kansas and got my ass kicked. That's a total different kind of hunting.
Yeah.
There's hardly any trees. You can't believe deer come where they come from, and the wind's always blowing. But there's big freaking deer in Kansas. But I got my ass pretty much handed to me. But Ohio, I've been pretty successful in some public pieces. So,
what is the top state you want to hunt next?
Oh, Iowa for sure.
Iowa.
Oh yeah, I've been out there. I've been out there to the DeQuisto's farm in Iowa, and just seeing some in the early velvet out that way. They're just a different animal, man.
Yeah,
they're big. The deer are big.
If you could pick anybody to go on a hunting trip or share a campfire with one time, who would that person be?
You know, man, that's a great freaking question. I'm going to have to say Cameron Haynes.
That's a good one.
I'm going to have to say him just because he's very instrumental in my life. And as long as he don't make me run, a marathon, but, or you know what he does. And I, the only thing, he puts deer on his back and walks them out. I'd have to pause him on that one a little bit. But beside that, yeah, man. No, he's something, man. He's something.
He is something. Damn it. I see Dave's back. We got to let him back in.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Wi-Fi pissing me off.
You could have stayed off. We weren't missing you no bit. Everyone was cheering that you were gone, too.
Oh, I'm sure you were.
No, not me. Everyone in the comments.
Oh,
everyone was. They were just like, yay, Dave's gone. Yay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what was happening.
It was. I'm saying it is because it's true. If you could bring one loved one that passed away to go on a hunting trip with or share a campfire with one time, who would that be?
Granddad, period. End of story, with a mallet.
It's one of the number one answers.
Number one answer. I don't think anybody said anything else.
Well, is that right? Wow. That you know what? If you knew your granddad like that, my granddad was my everything, man. He was my father figure. My I lost him in 2010, man, and it was a tough one for me, man. But I was blessed to have that guy in my life for sure. So anybody that had a granddad that was close, I get it, man.
Yep.
Yeah. I never had a granddad that hunted. It was my uncle. My dad didn't hunt. He got out of Nam. He wanted nothing to do with it. My uncle's what got all of us, the nephews and me and my brother, into it. That was it.
See, my granddad, he hunted. He was old school, like in the flannel shirt. Granddad.
Yep.
He was there with an old like 410 or a gun with no scope. And my uncle was the savage. So I had the best of both worlds. I had my granddad. He just would go out there and hang around not too far. But my uncle was like up, all war face painted up, and archery and just shooting squirrels with his bow. It's like, are you serious? Anything.
I did forget to mention, I was talking to one of our future guests. I think it was Wyatt. And I asked you this about your next favorite animal on the bucket list to hunt. Mine used to be a polar bear. I mean, a grizzly bear. It's a polar bear now. I want to go hunt a fucking polar bear. I don't know. I'm talking to him. Apparently, that's a real fucking thing. And you can I think it's like $2,000 that you can go get one. Outside of external prices of shit of trying to get there, but to actually book a place that offers hunts, it's like anywhere between $15,000 to $2,000. Outside of that, I don't know because I haven't done all the research about it. But yeah, I'm like, holy shit. Because I always wanted to hunt the fiercest predator on the planet, and it used to be a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
I didn't think you could hunt polar bears. So then he told me, yeah, you can hunt polar bears in parts of Canada. I said, no shit. And that's number one thing now, I think, outside of a grizzly bear still, and a moose.
Oh, yeah, big moose. That's pretty badass.
You might want to stick to club and seals, Brett, for your first time up there.
You know what, Dave? You can shut the fuck up. You can shut the fuck up.
I'm not the one who said it. That was Squatch.
Hey, man, I tell y'all what. This is I'm very.
You got blamed for it, Dave.
I know. I didn't even say anything.
It's freaking like 10 o'clock, man, and I'm having a blast. I really I appreciate you guys letting me in the club, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
Brian.
Jeez, that's great.
There's a question here. Michael asks, where in Virginia are you located, Brian?
Northern Virginia. So the best way, the most popular part, it's a little town called Cat Harpin, but Manassas would say just about 30 minutes from DC.
Last two questions here. How do you think we can get more people involved in hunting?
That's it's there's not a magic button, that's for sure. So we have to just use our platforms as we grow and acknowledge, doing it the right way, getting the youth involved more, trying to change minds, like I just heard from jocks or whatever that nonsense. I just didn't know that was something that was jocks were not hunters, but just changing that, if that it's okay that, you know, we just got to be more ambassadors of, it's not about inches, you know, it's if respecting the animals that it provides, the sport itself, the traditions, and if you're taking children and teaching them the right way, you know, that you're just gonna, but you know, society is, it can be evil if you look at it through that lens. If you look at social media through the wrong lens of you know, the way it's being portrayed a lot, like if your deer's not this big or, you know, however, and some kids don't want to get involved in that. So I just think that it's about, you know, for all of us, I know all of us get it, man. It's for, it's the heritage, it's the stories, it's the brotherhood, it's the family, it's the traditions, and family's everything, man. And you're seeing a lot of broken, you know, families now that aren't at the dinner table anymore. Everybody's too busy to do this and do that. And that's where hunting can bring that together, and, you know, trying to teach that.
Mm-hmm.
Better rope beer. He says, I'll be in Southwest Virginia for deer in November.
Oh, nice,
Justin
man.
here says, my brother was stationed in Quantico, or however you spell it. He says, there's tons of deer there. However, he says, little bodies, but tons of them.
Yes. Quantico produces some nice deer, that, some of them have, like, the bodies aren't big, but there's some big racks on some of them out of Quantico. But you have to, I don't know if you have to draw certain areas, or I'm not quite sure how Quantico works. I've never hunted Quantico.
Last question here for you, Brian. What do you think we as fellow hunters could or should do to improve the hunting community as a whole?
Going back to what we were just talking about, just being, as a whole hunting community, not bashing others, celebrating. Don't decelerate somebody because they use a crossbow. Just be happy for them. Whether you like to use a stick and a string and go public and you kill a deer versus a guy in a redneck blind, as long as it's legal, enjoy it, teach people, and, you know, try to help educate them. And I do believe, there is, you know, for older guys like us, I think there's a group that, you know, that by hunting can help your fitness and your lifestyle to be around longer, and enjoy things more. And I believe it's healthy for the mind. I think, you know, my granddad always said, if you're working, it's good for your mind. If you're not working, it's not good for your mind. And so I believe that. I find myself like that. If I'm not doing nothing, I become lazy. If I'm always tinkering, doing stuff, I seem more sharper and energetic and a better person.
Always got to try to find ways to improve. You can never just sit back and relax. You always got to try and find yourself to be 1% better each and every time you get up, basically. Brian, I just want to say thank you so much, man, for coming on the show. We've dived into a lot of different topics tonight, and it's been a blast. Squatch, for people that want to reach out to you and follow you along, how can they do that, my man?
Sure.
Yeah, man, you guys. Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Thack Wolf, THACK Wolf, and then Facebook, Brian Thacker. So if you guys please hit me up. I definitely same with you all, man. I'm honored to be on this. I'm a very humble guy. Anything anything I pretty much get to do in my life, I'm very thankful. So it's just a pleasure meeting people, and getting into this industry a couple years ago has been a blessing for me. I've met so many people like yourself and so many good people, and I think that is a great lens to look at social media through as we end this. Is that positive? I think, Brett, you mentioned that, or Squatch, one of y'all did, about how we've all come together through social media that we never would have.
Right.
And that's a great thing.
Squatch, how can people reach out to you, man?
Well, as always, you can find me here on Whitetail Advantage on Sundays and Tuesdays at 8:30. You can always find me on the Garden State Outdoorsman podcast, Mike Nitre, Frank Mastica, great bunch of guys all together down there. Got my Instagram page, Outdoors and More with the Squatch, and of course my YouTube channel where I post videos about my hunting and fishing outdoors adventures on YouTube.
Dave?
That's Outdoors and More with the Squatch. Is that your handle?
Yep.
I'm pretty much on all the platforms as well as PSE Mobile Hunter. I got YouTube. I do a lot of my outdoor videos there and pretty much a lot with the kids stuff, out shooting and fishing, hunting. My Facebook channel is the same, and as well as Instagram and Whitetail Advantage and the Garage Guys.
Yeah, we got some good news hopefully coming this week with XOP.
Yep.
And hopefully, we don't want to release the cat out of the bag so far, but thank you everyone for coming in for tonight's show. Thank you everyone for commenting. I just can't say thank you enough. Thank you for everyone being a part of the team. And with that, we'll wrap things up.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, that's going to conclude another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. I want to say thank you to everyone that's tuning in for tonight's live show, and thank you to everyone out there listening to this podcast. Now, if this show made you laugh, made you think, gave you a new perspective, please hit that like and subscribe button. We'd be greatly appreciative. If you have a Carbon TV account, if you can head over there and give us a positive score, that'd be greatly appreciative as well. The audio versions of our podcast gets released every Monday and Wednesday at 5 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, in the hunting season, at October through December, we only do a live show every Sunday, and they only get released on Mondays at 5 a.m. If you want to be a guest on our next live show, or you want myself, anyone from the team, or everyone from the team from Whitetail Advantage to be a guest on your next live show, or if you want to see who our upcoming guests are going to be on the show, head to our website and submit a request and check everything out on our website, www.whitetailadvantage.com. I also want to say thank you to all the companies that's partnered up with us here at Whitetail Advantage. We're greatly appreciative of everything you guys are doing with us. We can't say thank you enough. Last but not least, put that cord in that slot machine. We'll see everyone next time.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.